Okay, hello. I'm live, and this was very impromptu. I really should be asleep. It's late. It's like 1 something in the morning, so I don't expect many people to be on the same. But I didn't want to bother with any type of editing or whatever. I just watched the video that was taken by some bystanders in Minneapolis. A policeman in particular, kneeled on the neck of another human being until he died. Oh my God. And I feel traumatized. I feel absolutely traumatized for having watched that. And part of me knew better than to watch the video. Like I heard what had happened. I knew about that. I knew about the man that had died. Another person had said, I can't breathe. And so I knew that if I watched that video, and there was like a warning, like it's graphic, and so I didn't really want to see it because I'm definitely not one. I don't like violent shows. I just don't enjoy that kind of thing. I'm not desensitized to violence. I'm not desensitized to acts of depravity, but I made myself watch it because I felt like I just needed to fully feel the impact of what is happening in the world. And I have mixed feelings about the fact that I did watch it, and because I try to stay very high vibration and really focus on things that are going to bring about like positive change and just do things that are going to be good in the world. And but I watched it because I felt like almost like I owed it to that person to see the truth, oh my God, of what happened to him. I have to tell you, it was deeply disturbing. Like I felt sick to my stomach, like really sick to my stomach. And and then this thing, Amy Cooper, this woman in Central Park, who was like smug, like I'm going to call the police and tell them an African-American man is threatening my life, like as though it was a joke or something, or that she knew she could just push that button and get away with it. And I'm just horrified and disgusted. And I mean, in some ways, I'm so glad that I'm not in the U.S., but it's also a shame that I feel like I can't go there. I don't want to go there. I mean, very recently I was thinking, do I want to go back to LA and do some business there and all that stuff? And I'm like, aside from this whole, COVID situation, like, how could I feel not just safe, but like morally comfortable taking my child to a place where they are, oh my God, right, where they are doing this. They're doing this to people, to other human beings. I'm just like, I'm trying not to be all choked up, but I am. I'm just really, really, I'm deeply affected. And so I thought, well, let me just come on and say something. A few of you have written to me and said, what's going on? We're waiting for a video. What have you been doing? And I've been doing other stuff. I actually do have some videos I'm in the process of editing. One of them I'm having some trouble with, but another one I don't know, I've been busy also with just work, but at this moment I was like, I just need to like talk, I think. And I don't really know, I'm kind of stuck, I'm kind of stuck like about what do I even say? Like, what can anybody even say about this? It's just, I don't understand how can people like, how do they not feel? I don't understand how a person can not feel the devastation they're causing, not just to the one person. It is hard to watch, not just to the one person, but like to all of us. We're all connected. We're all so affected by this stuff. And no, I can't come back. I mean, I wanted to visit my family this summer. I just wrote to my dad tonight and I was like, I want to come visit, because he has yet to come here to see me. But and I'm sure I could do a visit, but I will say the one thing that worries me about doing a visit is, am I going to get stuck in the U.S.? Like, I do not want to get stuck there. I don't want to be trapped there. I do not want to be trapped there. And, I had thought, one of my thoughts I'd had for the past few months, like, I want to start doing more business in LA. So, I need to be there in LA more to be able to attract more business and, earn more money, because it's very hard to earn money here on the island. And like I was saying, for a hot second, I saw a job. I was like, oh, that's really good, and that'd be a great job. Although I haven't had a job in a long time. I've worked for myself for a long time. So the idea of going back to like a 9-to-5 and the whole rat race thing, and as another person I consulted with told me, why would you want to go to a place where they could come in any day and tell you, okay, thanks, but we can't, use you anymore, and like the budget doesn't work or anything, and just like dismiss you. And I was like, well, that's true, because that would be awful. It'd be devastating. I'd be paying like 5 times more in, whatever, living expenses of all kinds. So I quickly dismissed the idea of moving back to LA, especially now. It's like the worst time. But I've often thought, like for years, I've said I want to have multiple residences and like do part-time here and part-time there, and go in, to different, hola, how are you? To be able to like bridge my life between locations. Hi, I'm doing fine. I'm safe. I'm distraught tonight, and I decided to just hop on and talk about it because, oh my gosh, I watched a man be killed. And I don't know, I mean, there may be some of you out there who like, okay, so there's a show on, hang on, in the Bahamas, Dominican wife. Exactly, I can't breathe. Exactly, I just don't, I mean, it's like, what will it take? Good night, Philip. Thanks for stopping in. I don't even know what I was gonna say. I'm miles and miles, thousands of miles away, and I'm like, I can't even sleep now. I went in to check on my son a minute ago just to like touch him, and it just, I don't even have words for it. And I don't understand how people can participate in this, either actively doing what they're doing or saying nothing, being silent, believing that it's okay, believing that any kind of person deserves to be treated that way. I just don't understand. You may not like a certain person, you may not like your neighbor, but really? How can anybody feel like there's anything about this that's okay? And so, yeah, like I was having a conversation with someone recently, and I was like, because for a while I was like, oh, I'd like to own property in the U.S. or property here. And I don't even want to own any property there. I was like, I want to be just done, and it's sad because I really miss my friends. I really want to go and like, I mean, it's in a way, it's home, right? It's where I've lived almost all my life. But it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And the thing is like, peace. I know, I can't even, I'm reading your comments, you guys. It is, well, let me tell you this. When I was in the DR for the very first time in 2016, that was when, it was the summer of 2016. It was when the Trump-Hillary elections, like the campaigning was, but not the elections, but the campaigning before the elections was taking place. And that was a whole circus too. And watching it from outside of the US and seeing how the rest of the world reacted to it was like a huge embarrassment. It was like, what the hell is going on, right? That was one thing. But then that was also the summer of, like, again, I couldn't keep track, but it was like Philando Castile, and a number of different black men had been killed, murdered. And I had friends at home, and it was all over Facebook, like what's going on right now, where people are posting all this stuff, and they were traumatized and everything. And I didn't watch any of that coverage because I was like, nope, I don't want to be a part of that. I was like so happy to be here and so happy to have my son out of that situation, because he had begun to ask me before we came that summer. He was only 6, but he had begun to ask me like, Mommy, why are they doing this? And what's going on? And so I was really happy to be away from that, to be able to like be in this place where, in a sense, it doesn't exist. And I'm not going to get into the whole DR Haitian thing. So a lot of you guys have commented to me about that colorism video. I am going to come back to that topic. I did not delve into the history. That was not my intention to delve into the history. So I'm just going to put that bookmark there. But at the time I was here that summer in 2016, I did feel like I was able to escape from some of what was going on at the time there, which is much like what's happening right now in the US. I mean, and I think the reason I'm so deeply affected now is because I did watch the Amy Cooper video. The woman in Central Park was like, I'm going to call the police and tell them that you're threatening me. I did watch that. And I also just watched this Minneapolis police video. And I was like, I've never seen a person die, right? I've never seen like violence up close and personal, whether I've been sheltered or I just stay away from it. I don't know. Like, I'm not one of those people, if like a fight breaks out on the street, some people will run to the fight because they want to see. I'm the complete opposite. I'm trying to get away. I'm trying to get away. And so to actually watch the video, which was like 10 minutes long, this man saying, I can't breathe. And then he's like, oh my God, he's calling his mother. Oh my God. Like the last moments of a person's life. And the man on top of him who knew what was happening and he refused. Oh my God. Sorry. He knew what was happening. He knew what he was doing and he did it anyway. In full view of everyone. I mean, it was just like, I couldn't believe it. Like, and I know it's been happening for hundreds of years. And I know it happens all over the world. But I mean, like, I'm like, what? What is happening in this world? What is going on? Maybe it's because I haven't, So I have my glasses on because they're like, what are you guys saying? Oh, I know. I mean, and he just like glared into the camera. I know this is not a new thing. I know this is not particular to the United States. I mean, the US has its own history for sure, but I know that that's the pandemic, really? That's the fucking pandemic. I don't even know what to say. And, I'm just sitting up here like, I was stunned and shocked and afraid. Not afraid like, someone's gonna come get me, not that, but I mean just like, I was traumatized. I was fucking traumatized watching that. And afterwards, it's the middle of the night here. What is it, like 1 a.m.? I don't know. And I was like, let me hop on. I didn't expect anyone to be on this live stream. I figured you all would be sleeping like normal people. But I guess, anyway. I'm just, obviously I'm deeply affected. I'm really, really sad for everyone in the US. And I'm talking about everyone. So let me say this. The thing on colorism, right? The video I was doing and the one I intend to do again, for the record, there are a lot of people who don't want to discuss that topic here in this country, who don't want to discuss it on video. And I find that fascinating. I'm really curious to know, like, what is it that they feel. What are the repercussions, right? So I want to try to talk to some of those people separately. I do have a couple of people who've agreed, and we're working out logistics and all that stuff. But what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I did too much prelude. It's just, I don't know. I was going to talk about something about the colorism, and I don't know. I lost my train of thought, you guys. But I'm just, I can't wait to be back in the DR. I haven't talked to Dominicans about police in the. Oh, that's not true. So, okay, you guys, if you saw the colorism video, the woman, young lady Elizabeth, who spoke really honestly, I love what she had to say. I loved how she just like told her truth. That's the person who posted the video on Facebook tonight, and I watched it. She wrote a comment before the video saying that she had cried watching it. She's like, it's so fucked up and everything. And that's when I was like, okay, do I want to watch this? And I was like, yes, you need to watch it to just see the truth of what really really what it is. Not just what you heard or what, the ending, but like what happened. And, oh my God, it's horrific. It is horrific. So to answer your question about the Dominicans, what do they think? I mean, I can speak to some people about it. I started to post it on like the local Facebook page where I live, just to like look at this people. Like, how can this be? Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I was talking about becoming desensitized, And so I recently I forced myself to watch all of season 1 of Ozark. Let me say this, I don't know how people can watch that show. That is, I mean, on the one hand, it's very well done, it's great acting and all that kind of stuff. The storyline is very convoluted, but it is awful. I felt like stressed out watching that show because it's just it's dark and violent, and you know, at the end, man's trying to drown his baby. I was like, oh my god, how could people watch this? And this is considered entertainment. There are some dark, ugly spirits out there, you know, and I don't want to go into that necessarily, but that to me, that's not, I don't find that entertaining. I found that, like, in fact, my son would come different nights when I would watch, like, okay, I'll watch a little bit, I'll watch a little bit. He'd come running into my room and be like, Mom, are you okay? Because I'd be like, oh my God, you know, I'm like shrieking. I had my he felt like AirPods or whatever, and I'm watching the thing, like, oh my God, what the hell, you know? And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm watching the show. He's like, why are you watching a show that makes you react like that? And I was like, good question. But I watched season 1 because someone was like, just watch the first season and, you know, whatever. I can't do it. I don't enjoy seeing death and treachery and greed and all those kinds of things. I don't enjoy seeing that played out in real life or in fiction. Like, and that's not to say that every story has to be like tra-la-la rainbows. No, I mean, it's good to have, like, you know, some hooks and some, you know, some, like, you know, some real life stuff that happens, but like, I don't want that to be really what it's all about. And I find that show, as good as it is in some ways, it's just too much for me. I'll tell you what I have watched on Netflix that was good. Let me lighten this up a little bit. So I watched Hollywood, which I thought was really good. And I liked how it represented the gay community really well. And in terms of, like, really humanizing them and showing, like, kind of what their plight is. And for the first time, I really felt like, okay, I really get kind of that storyline. It's not to say that I have been insensitive to gay people, because I don't think I have, but I haven't felt like really aligned with gay people. You know what I mean? It's like, I just felt like different from them, just because I'm not gay. I mean, no disrespect of any kind, but I just was like, I don't know what that's like. I don't get it, kind of, in a way. I mean, that may sound really kind of harsh and tone deaf. I don't mean it like that. I just mean that, like, I thought the way that they brought those issues to light. If you haven't watched Hollywood, I recommend you watch Hollywood. It's not just about gay people. It's a great story anyway about Hollywood and what goes on and how you get cast and things like that. And for my line of work, working with Hollywood, it was really interesting to see that. But I thought that they did a really good job of incorporating gay storylines into it without making it. Sometimes, you know, when you see gay shows, it's like, it's so gay, or it's all about them, like, swishing. And that's the part I'm like, why does it have to be like that? Why can't they just be sort of normalized? And I think that's what it was. They normalized those people's experience. And that's what I liked about it. It wasn't like they were just, you know, whatever. So I watched that. I watched another show on Netflix called Unorthodox, which is fabulous. It's about Hasidic Jews. It's like a look inside this particular woman's life. She's a young woman, and kind of like what their whole culture is like, oppressing women. It's just, watch that. It's really good. What else have I watched? I watched, of course, Black as Fuck, which I loved. Black AF. Ricky Gervais, there's a show called Afterlife. A lot of these are just one season, so I think they're like, Netflix is trying them out. So the first season of this, so Afterlife, I thought was good. A little bit dark, but also really kind of funny. Not dark in the same kind of Ozark way. What else? I'm having to talk about this. I was lightening my mood a little bit because I didn't want to cry for the whole for the whole live stream. Be crying on here. Anyway, stuff like that. Daughters of Destiny was really good. Also really interesting about the Indian culture and the caste system. Again, there's this issue of, like, demeaning people and mistreating people worldwide, but that one was done in a really, like, hopeful way and showed just a lot of really interesting conflicts that people have around the world about, you know, who we all are and how we treat each other based upon, you know, what we look like, where we come from, or that kind of stuff. So Anyway, but yeah, so this United States thing, clearly it is the demise of what has been the American empire. Like, if this ain't the end of it, I don't know what it's gonna take, because this shit is crazy. And I'm really glad not to be there in the midst of it. On the one hand, I'm glad not to be there. On the other hand, you know, I miss my people. I really miss my friends. I've got girlfriends who are like, okay, enough of this fucking island stuff. When are you coming home? Like, when are you gonna come back and like, let's go to lunch, right? And I'm like, I know I want to go to lunch too. I miss you guys. You know, or just being able to do some of the things that I miss, having some of the creature comforts, right? I mean, yeah, I get to live in an island and there's a lot of beautiful benefits. I get to walk on the beach almost every day. But I mean, you know, like at a certain point, I'm like, okay, I don't really want to walk on the beach. I want to like hang with my girls or go on a date with some guy at home, but whatever. But now, do I want to go back to the US and participate in that shit? No, I really don't. And let's see what happens to these cops, right? Are they going to jail? Are they going to be put in prison forever? Does Minnesota have the death penalty? Because that was straight up murder. If you watch that video, you witnessed straight up murder. Like this man knew what he was doing. And the other guy who stood around, the Asian cop, he's an accomplice. He's an accomplice. He was a co-conspirator. They knew what was happening. They knew what was happening. The man is saying, I can't breathe. He stops moving. He's motionless for minutes. And nobody lifts a finger. They continue until literally the life is sucked out of him. I mean, what more is it? Fired, yeah, fired needs to, that's not enough. Fired, fuck that, he can get another job. I mean, so the woman, same thing, Central Park woman got fired, well, good. But that's a crime too, like false, what is it, like, not false arrest, but when you call up the police on a fake charge. I don't know what it's called, I'm not a criminal lawyer, but, you know, animal cruelty, she treated her dog, poor dog, she's like dragging the dog by its collar. But I mean, these people need to start facing like serious consequences, like what black people have had to deal with for all these years, right? And I'm definitely not one to like pit black against white, although I do find myself much more now, like, noticing ugly stuff and just feeling really annoyed at what I see a lot of times it's white people doing. And that's not to say that, look, there's bad apples in every bunch, but this shit is out of control. And like, what is it gonna take? What do you guys think? What is it gonna take? Is it gonna be like an uprising, like a mass? I saw someone posted tonight on Facebook. He's like, they need to bring back the Black Panthers, a chapter in every city, you know, take up arms and like take care of ourselves. And he wasn't necessarily advocating violence. Let me be clear. He was not advocating violence, but he was like, we can't keep taking this. Right, and that's what the Panthers were about anyway. They tried to make them like this activist group or militant group. They were social activists. If you look at really what their platforms were, it was like feed people, give them medical care, protect them from police violence. It wasn't like, let's go get anybody. It's like, let's keep them from getting us. And I'm not, McMichael's and everything, it's a death penalty. Right. They do need the death penalty. Like that, we all witnessed this man being killed. And I know it's happened before, and I know cops have gotten off, and not just cops, other people have gotten off. The guys who killed this guy, Ahmaud Marbury, is that his last name, Marbury? The jogger? What the hell? And that didn't happen until people made an uproar about having seen the video 3 months later. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm really kind of, I was a little bit speechless. I was a little bit speechless when I got on tonight because I was choked up, as you saw, and I just don't know what to make of it. I don't know. I mean, you know, it's like the criminal justice system's already failed so many people. How many innocent people are in jail, and then the ones who are there, you know, remember all the marijuana charges back like in the 80s? They lock people up for selling marijuana or whatever, selling drugs. And I'm not advocating selling drugs, but I am talking about marijuana specifically. Now it's the cannabis industry. Now it's an industry? Oh, now you have to pay double and triple plus tax to go get a pre-rolled joint or to get some gummy, whatever, like, what is it, edible gummy bears or chocolate, whatever. Now it's cool. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But back when it was brothers and sisters trying to just feed their families because there was no other way to do anything, that's like just say no to drugs. That's Nancy Reagan talking about. Anyway, let me say this real quick to those of you guys who commented to me about my colorism video, and like someone wrote me, he's like, that was an epic fail. He said it was an epic failure. Your failure to know the history was terrible. And listen, I was not trying to be a historian in that video. I'm not a historian. I was not attempting to do the video for the purpose of outlining the whole what's been going on between the DR and Haiti. It's a very long, convoluted history. Depending upon who you talk to, you're going to hear different things. There are some things, certainly there are undisputed, like the fact that Trujillo was like a crazy man and did horrible things. But that was not my objective. My objective, for the record, for that video, and I'll talk about it again when I do the second part, my objective was to really just get the personal experiences of the people that I interviewed. That's really all it was. I wasn't even trying to go back into history for that. But I know that it's a very sensitive topic. I know it's a loaded topic here, both the history and the personal experiences. And so I will try. Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear the Wi-Fi is better. Who knows why. I'm glad to have it, that it's working now. But I do recognize that is a topic that does deserve more thorough coverage, although I'm not probably going to go really deeply into the history, because I've read, about the DR, I've read about Haiti, I've visited Haiti, I've talked to Dominicans and Haitians, so I have a sense, generally of what's going on. I'm not dumb, I'm not ignorant, but I definitely don't feel like I am necessarily the person to really go into detail on that. I'll say this, at least alone. I would like to have someone who is much more well-versed, much more knowledgeable about what has happened. I mean, I can read, obviously, but, what's happened historically, who's been here in this country or in Haiti, all of that. So I'm not trying to cover that, at least not now. Maybe in the future, I'll give it more of the coverage that it would deserve if I were going to do that. But that has not been my objective in covering that topic. Really, with colorism, I mean, it was initially like, let's just talk about this thing. And I got some viewers who were also like, why are you bringing that up? And just, it's almost like I'm just stirring the pot. Some people believe all black women are Haitians for some reason. Yeah, well, there's some very dark Dominicans, but they're Dominicans. But then again, it's like, it's the same island. So, there's like, cross-breeding, so to speak. I don't like to use that term. You know what I mean? Like, people have been having relationships with each other since the beginning of time, no matter where you're from, whether it's wherever. Anytime you get a bunch of people in the same place, sooner or later, somebody's having sex, and somebody's having babies, and there you go. So, yeah, I mean, it's cross-pollination through, from Spaniards and French and Tainos and Haitians and Dominicans But I'm like, you guys, it's just people. When can we get to the point where it's just people? That's what I was going to say. I'm trying to get to the point, like, let's round this out to a solution. Okay, let me back up. I wanted to do the video, or I did the video, because I wanted to hear from these particular people, or some people, whoever get to talk to me about this issue. How has it affected you? What was it like in your family? What do your friends say? Just generally speaking, what's the Dominican point of view on this colorism issue? Great. Then it's like, but we all know really that this is bullshit, right? That it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you come from. It's who you are. It really is the content of your character. It really is how you treat people. It really is how you conduct yourself in life, right? And so then it's like, let's elevate it beyond like the hurt and the pain and the horrible things. Let's elevate it to like what it should be, where we should be focusing. And then let's talk about how do we deal with some solutions. That was kind of like in my mind where I was trying to go with that. Now we'll see what happens in part 2, and we'll see how you guys respond to it. But that's my intention. And when I do part 2, I will give a little intro, spoiler, about that's what I'm up to. But I do feel it's just like racism in the U.S. It's like if we don't talk about it, I mean, it's not there. But I definitely am one. I'm sick of talking about racism in the U.S. That's one reason I was really happy to leave the U.S. because I just got tired of like everything being racism this, racism that. Oh, white people are bad because of this and that and that. So I don't really want to engage in those same old conversations where it's like the broken record, because I feel like if we keep treading the same ground, we keep talking about the same thing, nothing's going to change. Let's do something different, right? Let's do something different. However, we have situations like what we're witnessing again now, where it forces us to go, what the fuck is going on? And what's it going to take? Is it going to take like straight up revolution? Is it going to take people like being armed and like going to the streets and like a civil war? I mean, what is this coming to? And, and that in the midst of like trying to lock everybody down and erode civil liberties, not even slowly anymore. Now it's just like obvious. You can't leave your house. There's like everyone's taking sides. Wear a mask. I don't want to wear a mask because it's not healthy. Okay, I'll wear it in these places. I mean, all this kind of stuff. It's like, it's not even subtle. It's a really weird like undoing of humanity, of like this so-called civilization. I was someplace the other day and somebody was talking about, who was it? I'm trying to think, where was I? Where someone, sorry, I'm trying to hold the phone. Someone was talking about quote unquote civilization. They were saying, oh, well, was it like an African civilization? They were saying, well, that wasn't a civilized society. And I bit my tongue because I was like, Kelly, don't get into it. Don't go there, right? So tonight I started reading the story of Mansa Musa to my son. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So it's M-A-N-S-A, Mansa, which means emperor, and then Musa, maybe it's Musa, I don't know, M-U-S-A. If you haven't heard of Mansa Musa or you don't know the story, I bought the book on Amazon, I downloaded it to Kindle, so we started reading that. It's fabulous. It's a story of the Malian Empire. Mali, one of the countries in West Africa, was one of these 3 glorious empires back like in the 1300s, way back when the book itself says when Europe was still in the Dark Ages and in other places are doing this, that, and the other, they had like, heaps and, just mountains of gold and silver and copper, and salt was traded equally for gold, interestingly, because salt was so valuable. Is that right? That's fascinating. Well, you're descended from royalty, right? That's what I was telling my son. I was like, don't let people tell you that the first black people in the U.S. were slaves. We were not. They came to the U.S., well before. There were Africans who made the journey across the river. Congratulations. That's a beautiful fact that you are descended from Mansa Musa. There were black people in the U.S. before slaves. We are not all descended from slaves. We are descended from amazing empires, which were, had incredible technology and were, known for being incredibly well-read, very literate people, multilingual and multicultural and doing international commerce and all these kinds of things. So I was like, this is what we're going to read. I know they're not teaching you this in school. This is what we're going to read. You need to know this. And he was fascinated. It was a great story. It is a great story. It's and it's not just a story, it's truth. They don't tell you is history of slavery. Exactly what they don't tell you, but so the narrative in America is that black people got to America because we were slaves, and the reason some people look like me is because we were, mixed either by force or by choice with slave masters, and that's the only way that we got there. Not true. There were ships that set sail before the Nina and the Pinta, what is it called? Nina and Pinta Santa Maria. There were plenty of ships that set sail. Yes, this is true. I'm looking at your comments, Casanova. It's very true. We did, oh my gosh, thank you so much. MXH Consultant. Breakfast. I'm gonna have a nice breakfast. I'm gonna take myself, not that I can go anywhere. There's no restaurants available now. Thank you guys. I appreciate the compliment. I appreciate your contribution. That's really, really kind of you. But yeah, so do not go for the okie doke of this slavery bullshit. I mean, did slavery occur? Yeah. But there were black people in the Americas well before Europeans got here. And if you don't know that, go look it up. You can start with Mansa Musa. You can look and see about how the Malians were trading with countries like Sudan for their horses, with China for silk and spices, with India, with Europe. Interestingly, the Europeans had the weapons, had like, I guess like crudely carved, knives, things like that. But isn't that interesting that Europeans had the weaponry? Everyone else was trading like commodities. Okay, I'm not going to do your comment right now, but yeah, so everyone else was trading commodities: silver, gold, cotton, tapestries, things like that. Europeans came with weaponry. What's that about? Seriously, what is that about? A friend of mine was over the other day. Yes, we were visiting, damn it. And I have a book called The ISIS Papers by Frances Cress Welsing. Frances, it's a woman, Frances with an E, Cress, C-R-E-S-S, Welsing, W-E-L-S-I-N-G. It's called The ISIS Papers, not ISIS, that terrorism bullshit. And interestingly, they named the terrorist organization after Isis, who's a deity in ancient civilizations. Why would they do that, right? Who's naming the so-called terrorist organizations after a deity? Anyway, the book is called The ISIS Papers. If you haven't read it, check it out. And this was a white woman, white American woman who was here visiting. Our kids were playing. And so we were talking, and she's married to a Cuban man. And she's very astute. She always likes to kind of know like what's going on here and there. And she's an avid reader. So I was exhausted, so I really couldn't visit her. So I took a nap, basically. But I said, you might want to read this book called The ISIS Papers. So she did. She read part of it. And it talks about what's up with Europeans and why they've come with the violence and the animosity is not a strong enough word, but I'll just call it the issues that they have against people of color. So if you haven't checked out the ISIS Papers, do check it out. I need to go pick it up. I started reading it. I actually haven't finished it. Sorry. But yeah, so there's just some really good reading out there, you guys. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, do some research, find out. Does anybody else, can you make a suggestion out there? So I've mentioned two. I said Mansa Musa and the ISIS Papers. Check this stuff out. Know your history, even if it's not your history. If it's like, if you're a white person or a Buddhist person or, you know, whatever, no matter who you are, it's everybody's history, right? It's a history of humanity. And so it matters. And what is it with the violence that Europeans typically have shown? What is that about? I feel like, is it a chromosomal issue? Is it some DNA defect? Is it because of, you know, coming from, you know, the Caucasoid Mountains where it's cold? You know, if you look at people in warmer climates, like these equatorial climates, like in the Caribbean and all that stuff, Frances Cress Welsing, exactly. You may answer about the Euros. Yes, you may. I've read theories about, you know, the climate. The Iceman cometh. That's another one, the Iceman cometh. I wish I had my dad on the line, my stepdad. He reads all this stuff, and he's like, read this, read this, read this. And it's just fascinating. But where does that come from? Is it because they're bred in powernomics? Okay, there we go. See, people are checking in. I love it. I love it, you guys. Let us know, right? We need to be educated. Do not listen to the news and think you're going to know what's happening. Do not, if you have children, believe that what your children are learning in whatever school they think is something different. You know, I'm making sure that my son, in fact, because he goes to school here that I know is not telling him the truth, I'm doing like supplemental learning, because this online stuff they're doing now is just, it's crap. So like the other day I was like, okay, who's Benjamin Banneker? Why was he important? I had on a recent one, who are the Ashanti? And not just black stuff, but you know, it's like, what's the respiratory system? What are the major organs? What's the reproductive system? You know, what does it do? What's the difference between the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system? I mean, I have them doing all kinds of things. What is another one? Things like, what are prepositions? So I just have them doing all kinds of stuff. Like, look this up, look that up, you know, learn some real stuff, and then let's talk about it. So then after he read the thing about Banneker, he's like, oh, you know, mathematician, astronomer, or whatever, planned Washington, D.C. He has a book called Black Pioneers in Science and something. And I said, go get off the tablet, get off your whatever, computer, go read like a physical book. So he picked that one the other night to read. He's like, Mom, the first person in the book was Benjamin Banneker. I was like, you see? So I'm doing my part. Okay, so Caribbean Gasnope says, I have done the deeper research, spoken to those who only speak in whispers. And what I can tell you is they did not come from the Caucasus Mountains. Indeed, I lost the last part of it. Something about the Caucasus Mountains. You guys will be able to see this and see the comments, so you'll know what he said. I'll look at that when I check the playback out. But there's some interesting history here, you guys, and I don't know if white people are going to be willing to really look at themselves. I mean, there's some people, and let me say this, I have some very good friends that are white. I don't mean that like the way that people say, I have some of my best friends are black. But seriously, I mean, I have people, I got Asian friends, I got white friends, I got black friends, I have friends. I have people who are friends. Imagine that, just people. And some of them are as horrified as anybody else would be about the stuff that's going on, right? And there are other white people, black people, blue people, whatever, who perpetrate atrocities on one another, and they live with that. So I was going to say initially they perpetrate atrocities upon themselves. Because I think in order to be able to judge another human being, you first have to be so dead to your own spirit, to your own well-being, that then you can see that happen or participate in that happening and not be moved. Not be like just brought to tears or horrified or running away from the violent scene, as opposed to like, remember the pictures of like when they would lynch people on trees and they'd have like the crowd at the bottom, people just looking up and smiling, or they'd bring picnics. They did not come from the Caucasus Mountains. Their ancestors landed there. Oh my God, they're aliens. So you know this whole thing about aliens has come up again recently. I was reading about this. Oh, I know what it was. I saw a post. No, somebody's, I got a text message the other day from an anonymous number. I looked it up, it says Boston. I don't know, because I have all these different phones I have. One phone died, and I have like 4 phones. So I don't know who, if I'm missing a contact, I don't know. But it was talking about this whole space program. And like, remember when Trump was talking about, we're doing, what was he called? Space exploration. They have a flag now with like an emblem of the space program on it. And there's like this whole alien thing. And someone else who has been talking to me, not to me directly, but something I've heard recently about this whole alien thing. That is creepy. I don't know what I believe, like, it just seems outlandish, but anything is possible. That's crazy. That's crazy. I will say this, I feel like white people are some of the most violent people on the planet. Like, as a race of people, or as a, some people say there's no such thing as race. Okay, well, whatever. As a group of people, they got some real bad eggs, a whole bunch of really bad eggs. I mean, it keeps perpetuating itself. And interestingly, they want to flip it, right, and make the Muslims the terrorists. The funny part of when people start referring to that actually being a true reality, they start thinking of themselves as singular, blah, 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 which, oh God. Okay, wow, I'm not ready, my brain's not ready. That's 8th dimensional, 7th, 9th dimensional stuff, I don't know. There's like all these different dimensions, right? I don't even know what to say about this, you guys. I'm stunned, I'm shocked, I'm deeply hurt and affected by what I watched on the video. It leads me into all kinds of other thoughts, as you can hear. So I love humanity, I really do. But when I see evidence of a particular group of people, historically, I'm talking about through the history of civilization, of like mankind doing, in large part, this one group of people doing these horrific things to everybody else around the world for millennia, makes me wonder, what's up with that? What is that about? So, I don't know, alien thing, whatever. How's that? I'm tired. Don't hate me. I'm tired, but my eyes are blurry. I know I was reading and crying, and so I need my glasses on tonight. I don't know how much more I have to say about this. I thought I was going to get a good early night's sleep. I did some energy work earlier, feel really, really good, but also kind of emotionally drained because it was like pulling up all this like stuff that needed to come out so I can do these wonderful things in my life, and so I was a little bit drained. I did 2 different sessions of energy. One was on like wealth creation. Another one was, well, both of them had to do with wealth. Another one was more like kind of personal stuff. And it was, it was good, like I said, but it was bringing up, if any of you do any energy work, of any kind of like Reiki, or this wasn't Reiki, but like any of that stuff, energy, it is motion, right? It moves. And so it's like crying, right? When you saw me cry, that's energy moving. That's me feeling something moving out of my body. And so because I'd done this work, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a great night's sleep now. And I had my shower and I was all cooled off from the hot tropical weather. And I was ready to go to bed. And then I don't know what happened. Something happened now, like 4 hours later, I'm on a live stream. What the hell? How does that happen? So anyway, you guys, I think I'm probably done. Thank you for listening to me. I hope I wasn't rambling too much. I needed to just express myself. God bless the soul of that man who died. I don't even know the latest man's name, this gentleman who was killed. If anybody knows his name, can you post his name? The one in Minneapolis. What's that man's name? So sad. I think when I heard him call for his mom, I was like, oh my God, that just, I mean, it was bad already, but like, you know, when you hear a grown man calling for his mother, it's gonna make me cry again. Floyd, God bless him. God bless him. Oh my God. And really, honestly, God bless those officers too, because they have to be so, what is the word? Like, devoid of, yeah, George Floyd, thank you. Oh my God. God rest his soul. I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Yeah, but the officers, I don't want to dignify them by calling them officers, but those cops, those other animals who did this to Mr. George Floyd, have to be so devoid of like their own like connection to their heart and their soul that I pray for them too. Honestly, it's like we need to send them prayers too. And anybody, honestly, anybody who can think like that, or who can behave like that, or who can turn their back, like the one guy, I think his name was Tao, who had his back turned while the other guy had his knee on George Floyd's neck, and like listen to him like choke out his last breaths and his last words. What? Oh my God. How? I mean, I don't even like. Honestly, sometimes I feel like maybe I'm gonna end up being a vegetarian because I feel bad sometimes when I don't feel bad when I'm eating the food because it's good, but I do feel bad. Like so there's a chicken man I go to. I think I'm gonna do a video and show you guys like some of the like local places I go and get stuff. But sometimes I feel kind of bad. Exactly, not officers, right? When I'm looking at what you guys are commenting. When you know, sometimes I feel bad about eating a chicken or the poor little fish. I was on a fishing boat recently, and the fish is flopping around. I kind of felt like, throw it back, like, you know. So anyway, I can certainly do quite well without eating another living thing. And oh yeah, I know what I was saying too, real quick. I was talking about the oh, I'm so sorry. I don't even know what he did. Like, I don't know the story about what happened or why he was even on the ground in the first place. Like, what the fuck? Why is he on the ground? Anyway, but people typically who live in warmer climates, like people in the Americas, like the Caribbean region, any place around the equator, you look around the world, that's not to say that there are no crimes, that there are no bad eggs, so to speak, but these people are peaceful, right? That's why people are like, the Dominican Republic, I'm scared to come here. I'm like, it's peaceful. I mean, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to walk around and just, you know, like do dumb things like I would do anyplace else, right? But psychological warfare is exactly what's happening. It's absolutely psychological warfare, just like wear a mask, be afraid to touch your neighbor, be afraid to give a hug. Can I tell you something? I miss hugging people. I hugged a woman tonight who does a service for me, and I just was like, I told her, I was like, I need hugs. I want to get a massage, is what it is. And so and I think I got the massage. At the time I didn't realize it, but I think subconsciously I just wanted touch. I wanted like a human being, because I'm not dating anybody in all of my business, but you know, I just wanted to like, I don't know. And she said, yeah, I think that's why I got into this business, because it's like it's a touch business, and you need to touch people. And so I gave her a hug when I left, and so this thing about separating us all and stay in your house and, you know, now be worried about the person next to you and all this stuff. I'm like, you guys, this is crazy making. This is not okay. That's why I don't care what they say. I'm going to the beach. I mean, unless there's police like lined up or there's a whole thing about I'm going to jail. I'm not going to risk that. But I go to the beach now probably, and this is not about getting sun, because honestly I feel like I want to be careful about sun damage, but this is about my mental and my physical well-being. I can't go to the gym. There's no gym. There's no dance lessons. You know, I've tried to do some stuff in my house. I tried to do a video yoga thing with a friend of mine. I'm like, oh, you know, I need to be out and moving and like connecting. And at the beach, there's people walking by, and the most you do is like say hello. I'm not with anybody at the beach, unless I take my son sometimes. But I go really early in the morning, like usually on a good day, between 6:30 and 7, I'm out there. I'm already walking. And I'll walk for about, depending upon how fast I go, hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm getting in my 10,000 steps is what I'm trying to do. And that makes me feel so good. And then when I'm done, I take a dip, and in the morning, the water's really still. And that's when you see, like I've done those videos before, the water's like glass, you can see straight through. It's because the water's really still. If you go later, like I went the other day with a woman who's visiting here, and she wanted to go later on because she doesn't get up that early. I was like, all right, we went like around 12:30. It was blazing hot. Also why I go early, because it's cool. But the waves had started to come in, so the water was churning the sand underneath, so it was kind of, you could still see through, but it was not as crystal clear as I love to see it in the morning. And anyway, it's my time where it's just peaceful, and it's my mental, like, I pray, I talk to God, I listen, I meditate. Sometimes I take my journal out there and I write just by myself. Some people pass by, I'm like, hi, good morning, whatever. But that's really what it is. And I don't see how that is harmful to me. But standing in line wherever, at a bank, at a grocery store, whatever, with a mask on, worrying about who's behind me, or if I can touch this thing, or I have to wipe everything down with alcohol, somehow that's helping me? Get the hell out of here. We are social beings. Exactly. It's going to drive people crazy. It's intended to. George Floyd. Oh, God, yeah, I can't. I mean, that's just... I don't think I'll be able to watch another one of those. Like if another, God forbid, but something else happens, or, I just can't. Like I didn't watch the Ahmaud Marbury thing. I'm like, I can't. I'm a sensitive soul. I really am. I'm just very sensitive. I think spiritually very sensitive. And like I said, if someone, and I've always been this way, like if there's a fight, people like, fight. You know how kids like in high school or whatever would go watch? I'd be far away because it makes me like viscerally feel very uncomfortable to be around that stuff. And so again, shows like Ozark, I was like, I had to actually put my hands over my eyes like a kid in a horror movie, because I just couldn't, if I felt like something was coming or I saw it, I am California. But I don't enjoy that. I don't get how that is, what is this? Oh, I just got your message, Casanova. I know, I miss people. A friend of mine tonight posted online a picture from 1 year, how they do like the 1 year ago today thing. He was at this great party with all these people, and I was like, I miss people. I miss giving hugs. I'm a lover. I love people, which is why, imagine that, I'm talking on YouTube, or the kinds of things that I do for enjoyment, for work. It's like I'm very much involved with people. And so I'm not like crazy hugger, like always hugging, like over. I'm not an over hugger, right? I respect people's space, but yeah, I'm not down with the isolation. I'm not afraid of people. I'm not going to be stupid, right? I am going to be careful. There is a virus. Something is happening. We recognize that people have died, and these kinds of things are going on. But I have some American friends here. The expat community. YouTube. I'm actually talking to myself. I know. It's really weird, this YouTube thing. So at first it felt really weird. Like I am talking to myself. And like right now I see myself actually literally talking to a picture of myself on this phone screen. So it's kind of a trippy experience, but I'm over it now, because I know that there's people out there. Maybe you guys are communicating with me, so I know you're watching. But anyway, now I really am rambling. I need to get off. Bottom line is, you guys, I need to have connection to the earth, to nature. And I put my feet, and I walk barefoot, by the way. I went the other day and I ran with shoes on because I was trying to do more running. And of course my shoes got all wet, and it was just annoying. And so I stuck them behind this little bush, and I went with my bare feet. And it feels so much better, because if you get a chance to go stand, in some grass or something, plant to my friend's situation. Which friend situation? Hold on, now I've got different ideas. Let me just say this. If you plant your feet, or go lay down in a park someplace, remember when you were a kid, you lay down, you look up at the clouds, you'd be like, oh, this cloud looks like a fire truck, or this cloud looks like a rabbit, or whatever. That's really important. Can I tell you how much time I spend looking at clouds here? Because we have real clouds, the big puffy ones, the ones that do look like different, shapes of things. And I think that's important. I think it's important to take your mind off of whatever the hell is on your phone. Just leave it alone. the new, just stop all that and go and daydream. Go and just, you know, truly, like, take a walk, go to a park and take off your shoes and socks and walk through some grass, or go stand on some sand if you can get to a place like that, or whatever, in some dirt. Like, get your hands in the dirt, plant a fucking tomato plant. I don't care what it is, plant a flower, something, because there's something about connecting to the earth. We are made of the same matter that the earth is made of. And so I think connecting to the earth is important. Even if you maybe just soak in your bathtub and there's water around you, like, that counts too. Be in the shower, feel the stream of the water coming on your body. Like, all that stuff counts. Go sit in your car, well, not in your car, but sit maybe on a bench somewhere and just feel the sunlight. You know, stand in the rain, let it rain on you. It feels, when's the last time you like ran through a rainstorm, a rain shower? I love that. It's so much fun. It's freeing. It feels great. So there's that. And then hug somebody. There's got to be somebody you can trust in your life, right? Like, hug a person, touch a person. It is critical to our well-being. Now, there's that. What was I saying about my friend? I don't even know. The party, I said I miss people. Oh, the lady, I went to the beach with her and it was too cloudy in the morning. I don't know what I was saying. I think that's it. I'm sorry, Mr. George Floyd. I love you. Let's send some love to his spirit. Let's send some love to everybody, you guys. Seriously, just like take a moment and just, like, from your heart, there's my heart, right? Like, take a moment and just send some love out into the world, truly. Feel it in yourself, right? Give yourself some love. If you haven't had a hug today, maybe just hug yourself. Like, rub your arms, whatever you need to do. Give yourself a scalp massage, seriously. And then, like, send some love to other people, even people that piss you off, even people that you feel like are annoying in your life, or if you're in a house situation where it's like, oh my God, I'm so over family time or whatever, just send some love. I had a conversation with someone just the other day who was going through a similar, like, I'm so sick of being in the house with this person. And I was like, okay, we can't stay there. So let's send some love, and just, like, you don't have to, like, say it, but just, like, offer something, right? Just offer it. And even to these horrible people who did this stuff to George Floyd, send some love to them, because obviously they need it. And I think us projecting our hatred onto them just perpetuates more hatred, right? So when Nelson Mandela was in prison for all those 27 years, you know, he was able to shift the behavior of the guards, because he said, if you read his book, Long Walk to Freedom, he talks about how he recognized that the guards had to have been in a worse condition, human condition, than he was, even though he was the one locked up and in solitary and all that stuff, because they had their freedom, and yet they were still willing to perpetrate this type of abuse on another human being. So he's like, I began to send compassion to them. He also demanded respect. Like, he refused to respond to anything other than Mr. Mandela. So he was deep, right? But he said he began to just, like, exude compassion and love onto these guards, and eventually they changed, right? They changed. They began to sort of soften and treat him better, and, like, slip him a little extra food and stuff like that. So what we need to do is easy to be like, fuck those motherfuckers, right? I mean, that's like the natural. Trust me, when I saw that Amy Cooper video of this woman in the park with her dog, I'm gonna call the police. I was like, this bitch is crazy. I get it. But then we have to go, wait a second. What really needs to happen is these people need to have a whole bunch of love. So I don't know if this is true, but I read this some years ago, that there is a particular community in Africa. I don't know if it's a particular tribe or, you know, part of a particular country. I'm not sure. But evidently, according to what I read, if a person in that community commits some type of misdeed, they do something wrong, they steal or they harm somebody or somebody's property, rather than doing some hardcore punishment, like would happen in a lot of other cases, they gather around in a circle, put that person in the middle of the circle, and speak all the positive things that that person has done in their life, or, you know, what's good about that person. And it's almost like a shaming. It's like, because they feel, I mean, imagine if you, let's say you steal something, right? Or let's just say you steal something and you get caught, and the person who catches you, or maybe the person whose things you stole, you know, all those people gather around you and they say, but you're a kind person, but you're an honest person. Remember the time you did this? Remember the time you helped that child? Remember the time you did? You're gonna feel exactly accountability. It's gonna make you feel like, oh my God, you know, if you have any type of conscience, if you're at all connected to your spirit, you will feel worse for being treated with dignity and kindness and care and love than you would if they're like, how could you? And because you're expecting that. And you deserve that, right? I mean, in a way, but I think it's more effective if we respond with love. That doesn't mean go give the officer who killed George Floyd a hug. I'm not saying that, but I am saying send them some love, because what we really need is to break through to them so that man who killed him ends up in tears begging for mercy. That's what we want. We want him to be like, oh my God, how could I ever? And he dedicates the rest of his life to helping people, to restoring some type of justice, whatever he could possibly do, to the Floyd family, to working in communities of color or in you know, juvenile detention centers, helping kids. That's what we want, and that's going to come when we send him love and not hate. I understand the anger, obviously, you see. I mean, I had the same reaction, but I think it's what's much more powerful. Martin Luther King said it, love is much more powerful than hate. That's what's going to turn the tides. And so when we see these things, when we witness them in ourselves, I did a video, I haven't put this video up yet, but I was talking the other morning about, I've noticed, like, again, this energy work I'm doing, I started being like irritated by certain things lately, just little bitty things. And I was like, just like things were annoying me. Not a lot, but a few different things popped up over the past maybe week or so. And I was like, why are these little bitty things like kind of triggering me? And I was like, well, underneath it, I feel like there's some hurt. Like, I felt offended that this person did this to me. Or I felt offended that this woman over a year ago, like, messed with my business and cost me some business. And, you know, so I was pissed for a long time. But I was like, but really underneath the pissed offness is that I feel hurt. Oh, get out of here with your cynicism, MLK comment. Yeah, and those same people who shot him were devoid of love and kindness and all that stuff. Listen, I'm not saying that there's not an absolute reasonable response in outrage. I get that. But I also get that fighting fire with fire burns the whole fucking house down, right? And so, again, hugs and kisses to you too. You don't like it? Okay. See what happens, you know? I'm trying to make a point here, and you don't have to agree with my point, Casanova, but I hope you hear what I'm saying. Or if you don't want to hear it, then you don't have to listen. The larger point is sending love. You can do all the, you know, calling for firing and stuff, absolutely. But beyond that, then what? Right? I'm talking about energetically. Just like we just finished saying, everyone agrees, yes, we all need hugs in this quarantine time. It's ridiculous to be separated. We need hugs and, like, excuse me, connection with other people. There's some disconnect in the people that are perpetrating these awful crimes. There's a disconnect. And I'm not saying, oh, let's go give them a reward. I'm saying energetically, pray for them, send them love, God bless their souls, because obviously they're in some kind of a prison of their own. Clearly, that is not a normal behavior to kill another human being. That's just not a normal behavior, right? If you're being attacked, self-defense, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the horrific types of stuff that we've seen happen time and again. There's a sickness in these people. For whatever the reason, I'm not going to try to go back into history or DNA or whatever it is, but I am saying that something is going on. And I, for one, after I finish being outraged and calling all kinds of expletives and stuff, which I've done, my next step is to go, you know what? Seriously, let me just pray for them, because, you know, it's bad. It's bad. And I do believe that that kind of energy being sent can overcome the other stuff. Do I think that my one little thing is going to make a difference? Maybe not all the difference, but it's like molecules clumped together, right? Positive connects to positive, connects to positive. If all of us do that, then that's much more force than my one prayer or, you know, sending of, you know, good, not good wishes. What am I trying to say? But like, you guys know what I'm trying to say. My intention that they be healed by sending them some, what I would call, like, let's say, healing energy or loving energy. It's not condoning what they're doing. That's not my point. Hello, oh, hi. Welcome. That my point is not to condone it, obviously. My point is to try to affect some change by doing something different. Sure, you know, would I want to arm myself against somebody? I guess. I'm not, you know, guns actually scare me, but trust me, if someone comes after me, I'm damn sure going to defend myself to the best of my ability. Defend myself, my home, my child, all of that. So I'm not talking about, you know, when they're coming after me, it's like, oh, let me hug you and I love you. That's not what I'm talking about. I hear you about not having enough conscience to be ashamed of what he said. He may not, and it may not be, well, we don't know, right? I can't name a specific situation, but we've heard of situations where after a person has done something horrific, like this man did tonight, where by whatever means, they have like their conscience does like a change in their consciousness. And then they're like, oh my God, what have I done? Father, forgive me, what have I done? And they do then spend the rest of their lives trying to help somebody. Maybe this comment is coming too soon. I recognize that, you guys. Maybe this comment is, I should have this discussion, do this type of video in a month or whatever, right? Because I realize it's very raw. It's raw for me too. But I'm just saying my belief is, you guys don't have to agree with me, you don't have to believe what I believe, but my belief is that there is power in sending positive energy. That doesn't mean you're not mad about it. Hear me, right? That doesn't mean you're not mad. That doesn't mean you don't call for some type of justice to be brought about. For example, should he be brought up on murder charges? Hell yeah. I'm not saying like, well, let him go and let's just send him love. No, I'm saying follow through on the punishment that fits the crime. The crime is murder, so follow through on the punishment, right? But also, it's been out of hand. Look, the United States was founded on murderous, treasonous, barbaric beliefs and principles. So it's been out of hand. Colonization all over the world has been out of hand. How many, is it in the trillions maybe, of human beings have died because of the same type of shit? This is not, that's why I said this is not specific to the US. It's not specific to this time. Okay, it's too soon. That's fair. That's fair. So let me drop it for now. You've heard basically where I was going with it. But so in terms of what's happening right now, yeah, then I would be like I said, is there a death penalty in Minnesota? Well then, you know, he needs to be brought up on charges, both of them, or anybody else who was involved, any of those people, not the bystanders, but any of the police who were involved and did not intervene to help that man survive, those people, in my opinion, are co-conspirators, and I'd be damn sure trying to prove it if I were a prosecutor it's an agenda. Yeah, of course I do. I think it's an agenda to, like somebody mentioned psychological warfare. Yeah, Minneapolis, right. I'm talking Minnesota. So Minneapolis, a city, wouldn't have the death penalty. It would be in the state. That's why I said Minnesota. It's Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? Yeah. So it would be whether there's a death penalty or life in prison, whatever it is, for murder. I don't know what the law is in Minnesota. But I would ask for that. And if I were a prosecutor, I'd be going for that, for sure. And I think there's plenty, I mean, I was going to say it's on tape, there's plenty of evidence, but then I was like, well, but I'll think of all the other times things have been on tape and like what happened, right? Nothing or little to nothing. So, but yeah, I would advocate in this case, absolutely, to whatever the highest level of prosecution is, whatever the toughest sentence, the maximum sentence, whether it's life in prison, death penalty. Hey, look, you know, it's not like he didn't know. It's not like it happened in a second. It was like 10 minutes. 10 minutes of intentional trying to literally like choke the life out of a person. And he did it. Oh my God. Ugh, I can't even. There's a time for anger. That's why I said I recognize that my comments are too soon. It's not even the real outrage. Well, here's my thing about the outrage. I am kind of wondering, like, well, when are people gonna like fucking go off? Brother Malcolm X, that's what I'm talking about. When is enough really enough? When is it really enough? And I'm not trying to advocate for like, take to the streets and shoot everybody, because, you know, I mean, a lot of innocent people, that would be a terrible thing. But at the same time, what you gonna do? Because let me tell you this, it's not gonna stop. Someone posted online tonight, why does it keep happening? I'm like, it keeps happening because it can, because there's no fucking penalty. There's no consequences. There are no consequences, not from the justice system, not from the Black community, not from any community, you know. So we get upset for a while, we'll be pissed off about it. There might be somebody that marches, you're gonna see some Black Lives Matter signs, whatever. And then it's like, okay, and then the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Meanwhile, somebody's in a back room somewhere laughing, going, look at them, they keep taking it. They keep taking it. So what is gonna happen? What is the answer? You know? I wonder things like, if this were to happen in the Jewish community, for example, and I don't mean just, or whoever, any other community, what would those people do? What would the response be? How do I think the world would respond if the roles were reversed? Oh, come on, you already know, right? We already know. We already know. What if Barack Obama had done all the things that Trump has done, right? I mean, you know, how could this man still be in office? Because he's a, I was gonna use the word puppet, but I wanted to find a different word. He's a pawn. He's being used by the people who are actually in control, running not just the country, but running the world. We're the real gangsters, you know, and not just Black people, but we're the white people who are like, I'm sick of this. Because, like, again, I don't feel like all white people are bad. I don't believe that. You know, I don't believe that all of it is bad. But where is the actual outrage? Oh, did they have a riot? Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah. I don't know, you guys. Is it live? Yes. Hi, Danny. This is live. It's a long one, too. I've just been talking and talking and talking. We're live. We are stunned here and kind of, I don't know the word, about, it's not going to be pretty. I don't think so either. I think it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. Jews wouldn't allow it, right? Would Chinese allow it if it were being done to their people? Would pick a group of people, right? Not even necessarily based upon like race or ethnicity, but whoever, you know? Men, well, it is men anyway. It just, where's the outrage? I'm sorry. I'm talking my thoughts. I'm also reading your comments as you guys put them up as best I can. I don't know what to say, you guys. I don't really have an answer. I don't know. Like I said, I started out by saying, I'm glad I'm not in the U.S. I'm glad my son is not in the U.S. because, you know, in some ways you'd be like, oh, well, you can't even say anymore. Well, we live here, or he goes to that school, or whatever, because there is no safety. There is no safety, right? It's not a lot of white people in the right. Right, because everyone's like, this is fucking crazy. There is no excuse. It's past the point that anything that anybody can remotely try to say is reasonable or rational or he was threatening or whatever. Eugenics. I know, eugenics. I can't read all the comments. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of stuck right now. I'm stuck on like, I don't even know what to make of this. I don't know what to make of it. And I don't think it's going to end well. I feel like the US is about to implode for a number of reasons. And I think it's like somebody mentioned Malcolm X, but Malcolm X said a long time ago, the chicken's coming home to roost. All this greed, all this violence, all this terror, all these things that the US has been doing all over the world for a very long time, you know, in the name of democracy, in the name of saving this one or that one. Exactly, it was a lynching. That's how I felt. I was like, this is a fucking lynching. It was sickening. It was, I'm telling you, I felt in my stomach, I was nauseated, like physically nauseated. Awful, awful. Well, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I'm scared to be there. I'm kind of scared to be anywhere right now. I might marry a Dominican real quick. Just like hole up with somebody. I don't know. Give me some citizenship. Don't be surprised if I come back and I'm married, because I don't know, or somebody. I don't know what I'm going to do. I do not know what I'm going to do. And that's a scary feeling too. Like, do you guys feel scared? Like what, you know, what are you going to, do you ever feel afraid about like, what am I going to do? Just as an individual, or like if you are the head of your household, or if you are a single person, like a single woman like me, or if you are, you know, you're a parent, like, do you feel afraid about like, what do I do? Where do I go? Because let me tell you something, although I'm happy not to be in the US in the midst of all this, although as you see, it affects me here too. I don't feel like I'm safe really anywhere in the world. Not like, where is it safe now? Do I feel safer here, like just in walking down the street? Yeah, I mean, we're not being profiled because we're black, because everybody's black here, right? Brown, whatever. But like, where is this not an issue? I mentioned on, I was talking about Netflix shows, Daughters of Destiny. I really recommend that you guys watch the Netflix show called, I keep saying show, it's like a documentary, whatever, called Daughters of Destiny. I believe it's just, I don't even think it's seasons, I would say they have like maybe 6 different, I'll call them episodes or parts. It has to do with the caste system in India. That's why I'm like, and that's in India doing it to its own people. Emmett Till, oh God. So when I was in DC this past Christmas visiting family, my cousins and I took the boys. There's 4, young boys, like from, I think the oldest one's like 14 now, down to maybe 8, something like that. We all went to the African American Museum, and we saw the Emmett Till exhibit, and all the boys, and we talked to them about this is what it is, and they were reading about this, and they, of course, he was their age when it happened, and they showed what he looked like, of course, beforehand, and then the awful picture of him in his casket, and then where his mother said, no, leave it open because I want people to see. That's what it is. That's why I watched that video tonight, because I was like, I have to see this. Not like from a grotesque, morbid, like, ooh, the wire, not that at all, because like I said, I'm not into looking at stuff like that, but it's like the hard, cold reality of what's being done. I felt like I have to, I felt almost like I won't say in honor of George Floyd, but like, how do I express this? There was just a part of me that felt like I had to recognize maybe the horror, the atrocity of it. Like, okay, you can't run away again, Kelly. You have to see just how bad it is and feel what people are feeling. And I did, and it was just awful. And so anyway, yes, we took this and we showed them the Emmett Till exhibit and lots of other things too, but they were really like affected by that, like what happened, and just so, but I just feel so bad. You hear so many parents now saying, and again, it's all over the internet and different social media sites, where black parents are talking about, oh, I had to have a conversation again with my son tonight, or again with my kids about, here's what you have to be careful of, here's what you have to worry about, here, you know what I mean? I'm like, what? What happened to childhood? What happened to freedom? Yes, he is. That's what I was saying. Someone's making a comment about the officer, the Asian guy in the video being just as guilty. He's an accomplice. He's I don't know about conspirator, but he's an accomplice. Because he did nothing. He stood by and let it happen. And so, yeah, so he goes up on charges too. And I don't know if there were other police. I heard there were other police holding the guy's legs down on the other end behind the car, that, at least from the video I saw, you couldn't see. But all of them are liable, guilty. Liable is civil, guilty is criminal. Unless you be proven guilty, but I would say they're absolutely all would have to be brought up on charges, murder charges. It's really, really serious, you guys, and I don't know what's next, but I feel like fired is not enough. Being fired is not enough. Murder, and you lose your job? Come on now, we have to weigh that out. Like, I don't know where this is going, but I feel like it's going, is it intentionally, someone put up there, it's like, is it intentionally going toward a race war? I don't know, that's a scary thought, right? It's a scary, scary thought. But here's the thing, do you guys think it's coincidental that all this race stuff that's been brewing for so long, killing of black people, all this kind of stuff, is happening, and now we're also dealing with the loss, like the obvious loss of freedom. We've been losing freedoms all along, right? But now it's the obvious loss of freedoms. I mean, they could be watching my video, right? Or looking at our phones. You guys have heard about Alexa. That's like the mic tap in your home that you asked for. Alexa, play Stevie Wonder or whatever. But is it coincidental that this whole COVID thing is happening? And remember how people were saying, oh, since COVID happened, there's been no school shootings, and there's been no. Now all of a sudden, black people are getting killed again, or victimized? Are these people, is it coincidental? what's up? When we're all locked in our houses, we're all feeling the psychological effects of being separated. We're being told we may have to be forced vaccinated if you're going to travel again. I even read something that said, not just travel, but like in order to go to to go to the grocery store, if you haven't been vaccinated, then you have to continue to wear the mask and gloves like forever. There are kids going to school. Exactly. But what I'm saying is COVID-19, is that coincidental with all this other stuff that's happening, with this race stuff that's happening? Or is it all, being made into such a pressure cooker that then it does explode? Like, I don't know, you guys. It's a scary thought, because if it explodes, like, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean? That is, I don't know. That's what I mean when I say, where is it safe? Where can you go to get away from everything? Because, I just don't know. It's not just the U.S., and if it becomes like a civil war, does the U.S. then call its allies, come and help us, control this? And then what does that mean? There's other countries involved? What the hell? To me, it's a terrifying thought. It's a terrifying thought. I don't know where you go or how you exist in a situation like that. And I really did not intend for this to be a video about like doom and gloom and scary stuff, but it is scary. You know me, you guys know me, I'm all love and light and, positive energy. I love you guys, and I do. I live by that. I believe that. That is how I live my life. And when I'm done with this, trust me, I'm going to go back to like a lot of really, my practices that I do that do, move good energy and help me thrive in an environment, even if there's problems or even if there's difficulty in the world or in my life, if I'm having like a bad day or I'm having like some stuff I'm trying to deal with. Well, we'll see. I don't know. War is never a good, obviously it's not a good thing. COVID-19 exposed many flaws. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's just such a mess. It's just such a mess. Exactly. Okay, you know what? Enough of this. Because the fear thing, I'm not about the fear. I have not been doing all this stuff. If you look at any of my COVID-19 videos, it's like, well, here's some natural remedies to help you, and here's why you should be happy. And so let's go back to that. Okay, we've stayed on the page now, the terror and the awful and the race and the COVID and the horror and the death and destruction and aliens. Let us now switch back to what we can each do in our own lives, like I was saying, to spread some love, to spread the energy that we want to permeate our individual lives, to permeate our families, to permeate our neighborhoods, our communities, the state you live in, the country, the world. Let's focus on that. We have to, because if not, it gets really ugly really quickly. And I can't exist in that place. I definitely can't. I don't exist going around worrying all day long. I do not listen to the news intentionally. I'm aware of what's happening, right? I'm aware of certain things, but I do not intentionally tune in to hear about the latest crazy thing that somebody said or did, because I feel like, how is that helping? That is not uplifting me. In fact, it's tearing me down. Rather, I have all kinds of, I'm in my room right now, but if I wanted to, I could show you some of the things I have posted on my wall. They're like all these positive messages and pictures, and I'll show you one thing I bought. Okay, I'll show you one thing I bought recently that I waited a long time to get this because I felt like it was overpriced. It was still kind of expensive, but I got the lady to come down a little bit. It's just a little small thing. So here, you see this heart? It's backwards now. It says amor. It's a simple little thing, and it's wood, right? It's a wooden heart, and it's painted, and it says amor, which is love. And I just thought it was really beautiful, and every time I look at it, it makes me feel good. And so I focus on things like that. And I'll do one more thing. This sign here, see, it says, I am what I make up, and I have it above like some of my makeup stuff there. And so I cut that out of a magazine. You're getting, it's too private. And my beautiful black woman, you see her? My friend Charlie Simon, the artist, painted this picture. When I saw it the very first time, I was like, I have to have that, I love it. It's already framed and everything. But, so I like that one that says I am what I make up, because you can see some stuff in the background. I'm not gonna show you though. I have to have a private life. But I like the thing, it was actually like a CoverGirl ad, I think, in a magazine that I clipped that out of. And I like it because it's true, you are what you make up. And so if you decide that you're going to be a happy person, you can be happy. That's what I was watching. So the show on Netflix called Afterlife with Ricky Gervais. I think he's like a British comedian or whatever. He's hosted a bunch of like those Emmy Awards or whatever. It's a show that he has. And I won't tell you the whole thing, but in one scene, he's in a therapist's office. And he's really upset about some stuff. I think he's just like, I just want to be happy. I just want to feel happy. And the therapist is like, well, then feel happy. Then just be happy. Right? And obviously, depending upon what you're dealing with, it can be more of a challenge than other times. But what I'm telling you is that we do, hi Oscar, is that we do have the choice to just decide to be happy. Right? So we can decide to be really angry about what we're seeing in the news. We can decide to be really pissed off at what someone said to us. We can decide to be really sad for a long, long time about how your mama treated you or the love you didn't get as a child. You know, you can decide to let that be your story indefinitely, or you can decide, you know, in this moment, maybe just in this moment, I'm going to think of something that makes me feel good. I'm going to look at my sign that says amor, that makes me feel happy because I like the colors on it, I like the message. I am too making sense. I don't know what you don't understand. I'm making sense because I'm talking about what you focus on, the energy you choose to focus on, how you choose to direct your attention has an effect upon what you experience in your life. Case in point, if you pick a news channel on repeat, and all you're hearing every day is stories about war and stories about who died and stories about some crazy political stuff and stories about just problems, you're much more likely to be in a depressed state, to be angry, to feel like you don't have any hope, to feel like the world has gone mad and, oh my God, we're all going to die, than you are if you either tune into something different, even if it's just like a comedy show or whatever, a nature show, or you turn it off altogether, better idea, turn it off altogether, and find something to focus on that is uplifting and positive. That's what I'm talking about. It is my channel. You don't like my channel? Change it. It's true, you guys. I'm not just talking like crazy woo-woo stuff. You may think it is, but it's also scientifically proven. Hello, thank you, Papi Osa. If you focus on negative, it brings you down. It makes you more susceptible to disease. Listen, there have been scientific studies have shown disease is linked to, everything comes from our minds, right? Thank you, people. There we go. There's my people out there who hear me. Thank you very much. It does make sense. If you focus on negative stuff all the time, or the majority of the time, you're much more likely to feel bad, to notice other things that are nasty that are happening around you, to be pissed off about the person in traffic, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Whereas if you primarily focus on things that make you feel good and are uplifting, like tuning into my channel, I'm normally talking about good things, you're much more likely then to, when, you know, something happens, you're going to go, you know, I didn't like that, but let me focus on something positive. I'm not talking about living in a cloud and acting like, you know, there's no horrible things that happen in the world. I started off this video, I named it, I Can't Breathe. I'm dealing with certain of the realities that we're all facing right now, but I'm not willing to stay there and be depressed for the next week about this latest series of things that's happening. I'm not doing that. I'm going to get it out tonight. I talked about it, and then tomorrow, boom, or even actually tonight before I go to sleep, I'm going to make sure before I go to bed, I'm going to put something in my consciousness that is positive, that's going to make me have a good sleep, a good dream, whatever. And when I wake up tomorrow, I'm doing some more positivity. That's what I'm talking about. And so you can either choose to do that or not. You know, listen, you guys do what you want to do. I'm talking about what works for me. I'm also talking about what I know from my own experience, what I've read from other people's experiences, people I've talked to, many books that I've read on the subject. And so, you know, listen, if you get some sort of fulfillment out of being in an angry state or being frustrated, I'm the moderator, or being or focusing on what I would consider negativity, if somehow you feel like that fulfills a purpose, or if you're outraged, is you feel that's productive, then be outraged. Be outraged. My thing is that how long will you be outraged? What level of productivity does that get for you? Now, if you have an answer that it works, then hey, then do your thing. But for me to remain in an outraged state for a prolonged period of time is going to probably, at the very least, give me a headache, make me feel bad, make me cry like it did earlier, make me feel all those kinds of things, which in the moment, I don't mind feeling, but I don't want to feel that over a sustained period of time. Exactly, you feel it and then you release it. Hello, I know you spread love. Exactly right. That's like my catchphrase, spread love. You know, this is how I live. That's how I live. And so far, it's working pretty well, I have to say. I got a pretty good life that I'm living. And no, it's not because I have a whole bunch of money. No, it's not because everything's perfect. You balance positive and negative. I happen to choose to focus much more on the positive, right? Does it mean that I'm free of negative things that happen in my life? Does it mean that I never get upset, that I never have a bad day? Of course not. But it's how I choose to deal with that. I just said a minute ago, I've noticed like some things that have made, like, okay, here's an example. I was walking on the beach recently and I saw a woman that I've known for a while in this town, like over a year, who did some funky shit to me with business, like I said, over a year ago. And I never said anything to her. I was shocked because then she tried to flip it and whatever. And finally, about a year later, I approached her and I said, so, like, are you ever going to apologize? Are you ever going to acknowledge what you did, like how foul that was? Her response, oh, Kelly, you act like I slept with your husband or something. I was like, are you serious? Excuse me. She was totally unwilling. I need to drink some water. She was totally unwilling to acknowledge her stuff. And that told me everything I needed to know about her. I was like, okay, this is a black woman. Okay. So I'm like, I'm done. Why am I going to keep being upset about her? So when I saw her, I felt that initial, like, that, you know, I had one of those, like, I'm not going to say it. But then I was like, wait a second. Instead of getting angry, let me just send her some love, because obviously something is wrong with her if that's her response. She did some stuff she knows is wrong. But instead of doing something as simple as, girl, I'm sorry, you know what? I was having a bad day. I had too much to drink. Whatever the story was, I shouldn't have done it. I feel bad. I was embarrassed to say anything to you. I'm sorry. Done. She couldn't even do that. Instead, she tries to flip it and go, oh, why are you acting like that? You're acting like I slept with your husband. Like I slept with your man. Like, what? Okay, you know what, Kelly? Why waste any more energy on her? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to continue to be angry about something that's not my issue. Or even if it is my issue, how long am I going to be stuck on it? I can be mad because my mom did something to me when I was a kid and, oh, it's made me feel like this in my life. Or my dad did this thing or whatever. We all have those stories. We all have those experiences, whether it's something in your family, your boss isn't treating you right, you're not getting the love you want, whatever. We can all have a reason to be upset. My point is, how long are you going to stay there, and is it serving you? Really, that's the bigger point. Is it serving you? Is it taking you toward whatever point you want to be to in your life? If you want to be happy and healthy and whatever, feeling good, is your being stuck and angry and disgruntled advancing you in that direction? In my experience, the answer is no, it's not. She doesn't deserve my positivity. Here's the thing. I'm not doing it for her. I'm not sending her love and again, I'm not like sending her love, like flowers. I don't mean it like that. I just mean like, you know what, babe, God bless you, because whatever your issue is, and I sleep with her husband. But guess what? Her husband still sends me messages all the time on Facebook Messenger. Not like personal messages, but like little, like, you know, notice things. You know, people send like little news blurbs and stuff. He always sends me stuff. I don't think that's it. I don't know. I mean, you men would know better maybe than I would. I don't know. But I don't even, I mean, I see her husband sometimes and he's pleasant. I say, hey, how you doing? Whatever, but that's it. My point, though, is that I do it for me, because if I'm still walking around being mad about her, oh, and then I'm mad about the person who cut in front of me in the grocery store, and then I'm mad about, being overcharged on a bill, and when I called the customer service lady was mean, and, I can be mad about it. It's like, where does it end? Where does it end? How much of myself am I willing to give up? How much of my peace of mind am I willing to give up because somebody did something I didn't like, or because I had a bad day, or because my bank balance is not what I want it to be? So what? My bank balance has no bearing on how I can choose to behave in this moment. Period. Period. And trust me, very recently I was like, how am I paying my next month's rent? Like, for real. For real, for real. Here's even realer. So I gave 2 months deposit for this place where I'm in now. Last month, I had to use one of those months deposit. So I'm not just talking at the side of my neck. I'm talking about for real. But did I sit up for nights and nights and nights and cry and worry and lose sleep over how am I going to pay? I was like, nope. And I didn't want to do that because I'd rather have gotten 2 months back at the end. But no, I was like, well, guess what? I'm not going to be able to do it this month. Boop, move on. Some of you may say, well, that's different from not having any money at all. That's true. It is different because at least I knew I had that cushion. But now I have a little less cushion. Am I going to be worried about that? What if I have another month? Oh my God. What if I don't have money to pay for my health insurance? What if I don't have any money to pay? I'm not. It's a never-ending rabbit hole. If you go down that rabbit hole, you'll be unhappy forever. So I just choose to see things differently. I have my moments when I get upset. I notice it's like, okay, that really pissed me off, or that made me feel sad, or that made me feel offended, or whatever. And then I let it go. I notice it. I ask myself, well, what was that about? What's really going on? Like I said, with the woman, for example, who did me dirty in business and whatever other things have annoyed me, I've gone back and said, okay, what's really bothering you? That was over a year ago. What is bothering you about the person who cut in front of you in the grocery store? That looks so minor. What's going on? Did you have a meal today, Kelly? Are you hungry? Are you feeling like upset about something? Is it a deeper thing? And then I'm like, all right, cool, check, and move on. I'm not willing to she's not worth my happiness. Are you kidding me? So you're saying those of you who disagree with me, you'd rather allow someone to have, or a situation or circumstance to have that much control over how you feel and how you behave than to take it back and decide, no, I may be very upset about the state of race relations, for example, in the States. I may be very upset about the fact that we're losing our rights. Sure, I don't like that. I totally oppose that. But am I going to let that make my every single day feel terrible? No, I'm not. I'm not going to let my every single day feel terrible because I disagree with something that's happening in the world, or because I think it's awful that there's trafficking children for sex, whatever, sex trafficking, or pick a horrific thing that's happened. There's come on, there's endless animal abuse, whatever. Pick one. I'm not willing to trade my happiness and my well-being for that. Am I going to worry endlessly about, oh, they're going to force me to take a vaccine? Nope, not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it. And so I end up feeling most days really good. Really good. Compartmentalized, exactly. Doesn't mean I don't care. It doesn't mean I won't work maybe to make a change in some area. Maybe I support an organization that is pro whatever I believe in. Maybe I don't know, you guys, but hopefully now you hear my point. Yeah, so somebody mentioned I just saw a comment about video on colorism. I don't know what you said, but I made some comments earlier about that video. If you want to go back, you can look at them. Basically, it was not supposed to be like a historical narrative on what's happening between the DR and Haiti, or what has happened between the DR and Haiti. It was really, my intention was just to get the viewpoints of those particular individuals about what has happened to them in their lives and what they're noticing now. It wasn't about the history. I may touch on some of the history as I understand it in the future, but I am not a historian. That's really not my objective. Put some makeup on. You wish you looked this good with makeup on, Louise. Don't make me go there. You know what? I'm really a nice person. Here's what I don't get. So this issue of trolls, right? I had to even learn what that was. Like when I first got on YouTube, I was like, what's a troll? Even for like a long time, I was like, what's a troll? What's a troll? Now I understand. I don't get why somebody would spend here's my point. Thank you for proving my point, Louise. Why would somebody spend their time, but they could be doing something really like beneficial, like getting some sleep and looking good and then, you know, feeling fresh the next day, or reading a good book or watching a movie or talking to a person they care about, whatever. Why would they choose to instead spend their time doing something that has no redeeming value? I just don't get that. I just don't get that. Oh, thank you very much. I'm not concerned about any people making negative comments about me. I'm very self-assured about who I am. I really am. And not only just the external. Thank you. I appreciate your compliment so much. But I'm very comfortable with who I am. Trust me, if I weren't comfortable, I think it's interesting to do this YouTube stuff, right? Because it is so, you become so exposed, right? And I've realized that over the course of doing these videos, that you become very exposed, whether you intend to or not. Anytime you put yourself in a public forum, even if you speak about something that's totally like benign, like if I'm gonna get on and say, I'm gonna do a video on how to bake cookies, you know, you still can get insight into a person from anything they say or do. And it's kind of like, there's times I've been like, oh my God, you know, do I want people to have that much insight? I'm a little bit nervous. But I feel comfortable enough in myself that it really doesn't matter to me, you know, people's perspective. I told, what I said earlier on this video, not the one on colorism, but too, I've gotten some nasty grams for sure. People, I told you, someone wrote me and said, yeah, that was an epic fail. Your video was an epic fail because you didn't cover the history accurately and you should know better and all this stuff. And I wrote back and I was like, it's true. I did not cover the history. And you know, I'm going to do a video about the history of the DR, I damn sure, in Haiti, and I damn sure should know better. But that's not what the video is about. So, you know, anyway. And like the video I did on prostitution, oh my God. I had people writing me like, what are you doing? You're veering off from what you normally talk about in your channel. We want to hear about the happiness and the good times. And I was like, that's not the only reality here. That's part of it. But there's also a really serious reality about other stuff that's going on. It's not just in the Dominican Republic, just like racism isn't just in the US. There are problems that happen everywhere. And my objective in doing these videos is to just talk about my experience, how I see things, what I notice, what I observe, what my experiences have been, good, bad, otherwise. I want to share with you things that, you know, if you're interested in like traveling to the DR or investing, I give all kinds of information, you know? Hopefully it's helpful. So lots of people write to me and ask me for like, what should I do about a job? What should I do about real estate? What should I do about all this stuff? And I try to respond to people with as much helpful information as I can. If it works for them, great. I mean, honestly, what makes me feel the best is when people say, oh my gosh, you've inspired me so much. You made me feel so good. Like either I feel like I can do it. Somebody wrote, I think it was a purpose, I just saw your comment. Someone wrote the other day and said, I think she's a Dominican woman living in somewhere in the US. And she's like, I really, really, really want to move back to the DR. And watching your videos makes me believe I can do it. I'm setting the intention that I can do it. And I was like, oh my God, that's huge for me. It's huge. What's my purpose for being in the DR, Louise? My purpose is to enjoy my life. What's your purpose for being on my channel? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's anybody's purpose? My purpose is to enjoy my life. And by the way, I wonder if you're a Luis that I actually know, but you just put the Evangelista as a last name, like a fake last name, you really don't need to be on my channel. If that's a Luis who I think it is, you really don't need to be on my channel because you are all kinds of wrong. Wow, that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, so when I got the comment from her, I've gotten lots of comments. Initially, when I first started doing my channel, I got a lot of single mothers saying, oh my gosh, I'm a single mom too, and I want to move there, and thank you so much, and I feel like I can do it, and good for you, you're so brave, you know, those kinds of things. And then it was more people, just anybody, man, woman, whatever. Thank you. Oh, can I eject him? I don't know how to do that. Let me see. I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, but then it was other people just saying that they felt also sort of empowered or inspired to you know, leave the matrix. And people were always saying, oh, you're out of the matrix and you did it, and how'd you do it, and how much money does it cost? And so I would I get, you know, either comments on videos or emails from people like that, and that was great. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments. You're right, I was a little bit riled up, so that's why I responded. And so those are the things that have made me feel the best about doing this channel, is that, you know, like I mean, I've been on for, I can't believe I've been on for as long as I've been on, but much earlier I was talking about how it makes me feel so good, how I'm very much a people person. I love people, and I like to do things that help people. And I did not know when I started this channel that this would actually be helping anybody. I did it really, I wouldn't say selfishly, but I did it just to record the experience of moving from California to the DR with my child. That was it. And I thought, well, maybe, maybe one day he'll be able to go back and look at the videos and he'll remember some certain things, or he'll see how his mom did this or whatever. And so that was kind of it. And someone told me at the very beginning, she said, no, watch, you're going to inspire people, and people are going to be interested in your story because it's going to help them feel like they can do something similar in their lives. And sure enough, that's happened. And it's been like a very bumpy road. Like I still don't know a lot about how YouTube works, but in the beginning I knew zero about anything to do with YouTube. I just like put up a video, like whatever. And so, since then it's been a little bit more, like I have some I've actually like produced and put music to, things like that. But it's not even about that. It's really just about what would be interesting to people, what's interesting to me, what do people maybe not know? That's why I am going to do one. Another person here suggested, I was talking to, so here's the little thing. So I went like a couple days ago, I did my little rounds of errands, right? After I had done my beach walk, and I went and I got like, so I love coconut water, like fresh from coconuts. So I took a jug that I have in my house, and I took it to like this little fruit stand where they have like the best fresh fruit, and they sell fresh raw honey and coconuts. And so if you take a jug down there, they'll fill up your jug with fresh coconut water. So I paid, it's like 6 coconuts. So I think it came out to like $1.50 for 6 coconuts. And then I bought some cherry juice, and I went to another vendor who has like all the fresh fruits and vegetables, and I bought like some watermelon from him, and whatever, different stuff. And then his son is the chicken man who's right next to him. And so I go and I get my chicken chopped, and it's like fresh chicken, like just chopped up. And the first time I went to him, he tried to put some feet in the bag. And I was like, no, I don't want any chicken feet. But here it's very common. Dominicans will make like soup or whatever with chicken feet. I was like, no, I don't know about chicken feet, so you can keep the feet for someone else. But then he started giving me a separate package of chicken for my dog. I just adopted a beach dog, you guys, like a couple weeks ago. Like, why do I have a dog? But I do now. So for my son anyway. So my girlfriend was like, you should do a video where you take people around and show them these little, like local mom and pop places that you go to, because it'd be interesting to see. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll do that. So why did I just tell you that story? I don't know. But anyway, that's the kind of stuff I do during the day. I mean, I also had, like, today I had a business meeting, like a long business meeting, but, sometimes I go to the grocery store, but I really like supporting, like, the local people who just have the small, like, produce shops, or, like, the chicken guy, or the juice guys, and I'll go get a fresh cup, like a big cup of cherry juice for 50 pesos, which is a little less than $1, and it is delicious, and it's not like cherries in the U.S. Dominican cherries are different, but the juice is amazing. Mango juice was my favorite, hands down, for the longest, and like pineapple juice and all that, but cherry juice, woo, it's so good. Okay, I really do feel like I have been talking incessantly to myself, by myself now for a long time. I have no idea what time it is. I actually have an 8 a.m. conference call, so I probably should get off and get some sleep. But I want to thank you guys for letting me talk this through tonight, because I got on and I was really upset. I entitled the video, "I Can't Breathe," because of the atrocity that happened. And I was just so upset. I cried, and I just, but I feel better. And I think just talking through all of these different things we've been on and talking about tonight has helped me process it a lot. I hope that maybe it's helped some of you guys process some of what you're feeling, some of your thoughts about these different issues. And I hope that you'll continue to have some conversations like these with people in your lives. Even people who don't see things the way that you do. I think it's important that we share our viewpoints with folks who may be very different from us, who may have had different lives, who may not understand, what's going on. And then you send people out to the haters. Anytime I'm up this high. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, you guys. Mwah, I'm going to go get some sleep. I hope you have a great night. You know a lot about me. All right, cool. Bye, guys. Have a good night.